and takes one leg off the ground. And he goes, you might think this looks simple, but what you're experiencing right now is a miracle. Here? Yeah?
Doesn't
Yeah?
matter. Doesn't.
Yeah? Okay, cool. Hey guys. I'm Ludi Lin. I'm here out of my own volition with Dan Locke.
That's the funniest. Yeah, like there you go. Welcome to another episode of the Dan Locke Show. Today I'm so happy and so excited to have my friend Ludi Lin joining us on the show today. Well, first of all, Ludi, congratulations on being featured in the new movie, Aquaman.
Oh yes, it's always exciting.
Yes, and I'm actually going to see the movie tomorrow. I bought the VIP tickets, right? Front row seat right there. Talk to us. What is it like to be a Chinese actor like in Hollywood, and what can we expect from this film?
Well, in this film, I don't really play Chinese, and I try not to do that in something that's sci-fi and out of the imagination, you know. And it didn't really start out that way for this character. Mostly, it's from James Wan's creation of this Atlantean world, of this underwater world.
Correct.
And it's kind of like that, you know. There's been a lot of colorblind casting talk, a lot of diversity talk, and sometimes I feel like we're left out of the conversation as Asians. But in this movie, it's kind of a little bit freer because it's not talking about a specific race on Earth.
Correct.
Most of it is about underwater politics and underwater laws and their tensions going on under there. The downside is a lot of people don't know I'm in the movie until they see the credits.
No,
and
yes.
they go,
You play as Merc, right?
I play Merc, but then when they see the credits, they go, Ludi Lin's up there, and they call me and they're like, how'd you get your name in the credits in a movie like this? You're clearly not in the movie, especially a lot of fans in China. I go, yeah, of course I'm in the movie. Didn't you see that blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy? And they're like, yes, what's your point? Well, you know.
Here we go. That's you.
Yeah. But I think you guys enjoyed the film.
And with the film, I saw the trailer. It's a little bit different because it feels almost, there's a lot going on with the actions and special effects. Like it's a lot of things. It's also, it seems DC to me wants to make this really, really, really good. Right? Since the Justice League, I'm a huge superhero fan. I watch all of them. Like with this particular film, what's it like to work with James?
It's an experience. Like working with any director is an experience. With James, it's a very special experience. He's like a mad scientist, mixed with a genius, mixed with a kid in a candy shack when he's on set. You know, he's always very excited.
Yes.
He's always going, Ludi, you know, okay, so we have to do this. And I have no idea what he's talking about because in his mind, he's got everything planned out, although they're in kind of 3-second little pieces.
Right.
With special effects added in, with everything, with the actions added in, with a whole team of hundreds of people putting their experience and their work into this film and finally coming up with a very short clip.
Right.
And they have to piece them all together into a 2-hour something long movie. But for me at that moment, all we're seeing is a blue screen behind us and a whole bunch of
That
a
requires
whole bunch of people
tremendous
moving around.
acting skill. Even for James, him as an Asian director from before like Conjuring and all the horror movies, right? For him to, I think I was watching an interview on YouTube about him because usually he said his budget is not that much. It's the first time he's actually responsible for such a big budget for such a big film, right? For him, it's also very exciting and super challenging as well.
Well, a lot of people have this impression that the film industry, whether it's acting, whether it's directing, success comes overnight, right?
Yes.
But that's kind of an illusion. Just like the film industry is kind of an illusion. Because I feel like for James, he's built himself up to this pace.
Right.
For him, he's like, to me, he's kind of like a boxer trying to conquer all the weight classes, right? You're right, he did the Annabelle series, he did the Conjuring, but he also did a little film called Fast and Furious 7.
That's right.
Right?
That's
that
right.
made millions and millions around the world.
100%.
And he had a very hard time making that movie because of what happened to Paul Walker. But that gave him the experience for special effects, for facial replacement, and all those things that come in culmination into this film, in Aquaman.
Yes.
And you actually get to see a lot of that. And if you know his history and all the work history of all these actors, actually, you start to get it. You know, you see Nicole Kidman, what she's brought to the screen.
Right.
Willem Dafoe. If you talk to him in person, you know his interests. You know Patrick Wilson, my friend Yaya, and of course Jason Momoa. And then myself, whatever weirdness I can bring to the character Merc. So all these things kind of come together and fit together. And we just hope that people like it in the end.
And maybe take us back to the beginning. How did you get into acting in the first place? Were you always interested in being an actor?
Was I always interested in being an actor?
Or the film industry?
Yeah, were you ever interested in being an actor?
No.
No? I think you were. I think everybody is.
Really?
Have you never pretended to be
I think
a
maybe when I was a
superhero?
little kid, like when I've always loved movies.
Right.
I always love, even like when I watch movies, I always love watching the making of. Even back then, you know, the Jackie Chan movie, the action movie in Hong Kong. Bruce Lee, I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan.
So you're a creator. Did you ever pretend to be Bruce Lee in one of those roles?
Yeah, like the nunchuck and all
Right.
that. I guess yes.
And isn't that acting?
That's true. That's true.
I feel like every single kid has basically put on a towel or a cape and pretended to be someone else.
Yes.
It's just, when did society tell them you can't do this for the rest of your life? You need to be an accountant, a lawyer,
it's not
a
a real-
doctor.
it's not a real
It's
job.
not a real job,
Yes.
right? That's how my mom kind of posed it to me as well. It's not a
Asian
real
family,
job.
right? I remember my dad told me that, you know, son, you can be anything you want in life, right? I want to support you as long as accountant, lawyer, like, you know, a law doctor, one of the three. Accountant,
Yeah.
right? Those
So
three.
many choices.
Yeah, the Asian family, right?
I mean,
A, B,
that
and C.
encompass-
You pick one, any one of those three.
Yeah.
Right? What's it like for you?
Well, it was like that for me. I mean, the only thing for me is I had the fortunate now, but maybe unfortunate experience at the time to be moving around a lot, and sometimes I spend a lot of time by myself without any kind of parental guidance around me, so I have to figure my way out. And in that, there was a lot of struggles, a lot of, you know, fighting, both mentally, emotionally,
What were
and
some of those
physically.
struggles?
Just getting to learn new cultures, getting adapted to new cultures, getting to learn how to get along with new people, make new friends, and before that, how to survive not making friends, and how to survive making too many enemies, and having been misunderstood, and kind of surviving the fights that come along with those things. You know what I mean? There's a saying in Chinese that goes 不打不成交,
Correct.
right? So it means that if you don't fight, you don't really know each other.
Right.
Because honestly, like, the fist is the most honest language.
Right.
You never lie with your fist.
Right.
You feel it, you feel it, right?
Correct.
So then, those were some of the struggles. But the biggest struggle is still finding yourself and what you stand for and who you really are, right?
Were you, because when I first immigrated to Canada, I was going to a school in Surrey,
Right.
in high school. And I was one of the only 3 Chinese in my school.
I feel like the world knows Surrey, actually.
Yes, right?
Random people you'll bump into around the world.
That's right, they will know
Sometimes
Surrey.
they'll go, Vancouver, is that like, is that South America?
Oh, yeah,
and then you
that's
go,
right.
no, it's right beside Surrey. They're like,
Oh,
Surrey.
that's the place, the
Right,
hood.
Surrey, car theft capital of North America.
That's right,
And famous
that's right.
for its girls.
That's
I
right.
think I saw this Tony Hawk video once, and he mentioned Surrey girl. Tony Hawk,
Oh,
the
wow.
skater, world renowned, and he's
Yes.
like, oh, Surrey, yeah.
That's right. That's where I grew
girls.
up, right? So when I was going through high school, I got bullied, right? I got beat up.
Sure.
And you can see this scar here, I got beat up. So it's only that time that I got into martial art. Like exactly what you said, 不打不成交. Was because I was getting beat up, then I was wanting to be stronger and protecting myself. So I took martial art, right? I was learning martial art. It's very interesting because the couple kids that was beating me up, after I learned martial art, then we actually become friends.
Yeah, it always goes that way, it seems.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Is that how you also got into martial art? Like something to, when did you get into martial art?
I got into martial arts after high school, actually.
After high school? Okay.
Yeah, it was for a different reason. I mean, yeah, I should have gotten it maybe I should have gotten into it earlier. I'm not sure, but there's also that saying: if you know a little bit about martial arts, if you don't know anything about martial arts, you're fine. If you know a lot about martial arts, you're fine. If you know a little about martial arts, then you're in trouble.
You're dangerous, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you're dangerous probably to yourself, right?
Yes.
So then I got into a lot of sports near the end of high school because one of my friends really took me under his wing and taught me what to do. And then I fell in love with just moving around like a monkey. So that's what I did. And then why did I get into martial arts? I think
Would you try to be like fitness reason, or you want to be like stronger, tougher, you want to kick somebody's ass, or you don't want someone to kick your ass? Like what was the motivation?
No, it was quite the opposite actually.
Interesting.
It was when I was backpacking in Thailand and I saw some Thai people Thai boxing on stage.
Yes.
And I couldn't understand why, because the fighting I did in the past, it was always very like bloody when I was out of, you know, trying to survive, right? Trying to survive bullying, trying to stand up for yourself, trying to stand up for other people.
Just like
but then,
street fist fight.
That's right, street fighting. But then I saw these Thai guys on stage and they were fighting and they were pummeling each other and they were bleeding, but they were smiling at the same time. So then I gradually started to understand, and you're a big fan of Bruce Lee.
Huge fan.
Yeah? So I started to understand what the art part of martial arts is, because Bruce Lee says a lot of things like, to him, martial arts is basically expressing himself, right?
Honestly.
Right, honestly, right? So for me, art is an expression where you can convey your own emotions towards another person, and they, having received that emotion, convey that back to you.
Yes.
And that's how I kind of learn about myself, and I learn about other people, because I can sit here all day and think about myself, but I wouldn't learn a single thing about myself because I have no feedback, right? And it's through that honest expression and exchange that you get feedback. And that's what I saw on stage about these Thai guys. They were exchanging something there, and it's kind of ritual because it's a long-standing tradition of Muay Thai in Thailand. So that's when I got into it actually. And then so in that backpacking trip I took a few classes and I continued when I came back home. And then after I graduated from high school and graduated from university actually, I backpacked for quite a long time and I lived in Thailand for a year studying that.
Wow.
Yeah, and at that time I got into Japanese jiu-jitsu at first, and then Brazilian jiu-jitsu, mainly because I decided to do acting. And when you're sparring in boxing or Muay Thai, you tend to like get cut and bruises everywhere, and it's kind of hard to go into audition and, you know, stay relatively pretty while sparring 100%. But when you're doing jiu-jitsu, you can almost go 100%. You can go up to your limit, but still, if you're
being choked out and tap and right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it with a experienced practitioner, then you can learn a lot and get a lot out of it, just mentally and also in your technique, without, you know, tearing any tendons or breaking anything. You get the rhythm right, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And through martial art, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned? Like just through practicing, because sometimes I think for people who are I think there's a difference between people who learn like self-defense and punching and kicking and people who study actually martial art. Right? The art, the philosophy aspect of it. First they thought I'm just hitting a bag, I'm kicking something. That's beginning. But after you learn more about it, you understand the art. I've learned a lot about myself, even in business. I transfer a lot of my martial art philosophy into business. What about you? Like, what have you learned through this journey as a kind of martial artist?
What have I learned through this journey? Well, I've learned that it's a journey, first of all, right? And life is a journey. And more and more, I feel like life is less about what I am, but about what I do.
Okay. What do you mean by that? Expand on that a bit. So
it means that what I am is composed of events in my life, and those events are achieved by actions in my life, right? So I'm not sure if there's a progression, whether or not there's an ultimate goal to achieve. But as long as I know that there's a direction,
then you're on the right path.
I'm on the right path, on the right journey, right? That's one thing I learned. The other thing I learned is that it's great to suck at something. it's a really good place to be at.
I agree. I agree.
I feel like I like acting a lot because I suck so much at it. Because there's this incredible thing you do when you suck, is that you get better no matter how much you suck. In fact, the more you suck, the easier it is to get better, right?
Progress,
and that's a great feeling.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, if I discover something I really suck at, I get really excited because I know that I'll get better at this, and it's part of the path and part of the journey.
You enjoy the growth, almost the pain, right? To go through that, to become a little bit better every single day.
Yeah, and that zone of awkwardness is very valuable because in society, people try to not be awkward so hard. So all the time, we're trying to be very cool, very smooth, you know. But if I don't know, say if I farted right now, it get very awkward, and then we try to get out of that situation by explaining it away. I'd look around and go, oh, it's, you know, I might try to blame it on the cameraman, or then if I was gonna be honest, I'd just say, you know, last night we had, you know, some burritos or something like that. And then, so it makes it very interesting for us to get out of that situation, right?
Yes,
so it's like we have a common goal.
Yes.
We're trying to alleviate each other's awkwardness.
Yes.
And then, you know, we're on the same team.
Interesting. I remember my Sifu, my instructor, who taught me about martial art, that he said, the great thing about martial art is it doesn't matter how good you are, how many years of training you have. It's very easy to find someone that can punch harder, that can kick faster, that's better reflexes than you, right? So through this journey, it's just like you said, it's very, very honest, because you could talk. You put on the gloves, you get on the mat, it's like few seconds, you know, right? And through training, he said it's a process of discovering yourself and also eliminating your own defect. I love that, because it's you can do a simple one punch, but if you want to, how can I improve my speed? How can I improve my maybe the distance, you know, judgment, or my power, or am I throwing my body into it, or is my hand dropping? Like one simple thing, there are 100 things that you can tweak. And that's why it's a never-ending improvement process. You think, oh, I'm very, very good. You've been practicing this thing for 10 years, even this move for 10 years, but you can still find things to tweak and make it more interesting. It's just you, right? It's you in the gym, maybe with a partner, but it's you hitting the bag, getting a little bit better every day. He said that's addictive to him. That's why he loves it.
That's right. I mean, I grew up in Vancouver, and right back when I first started acting and a few other things at the same time, I had a company called AMP. It's AMP. It stands for Always Making Progress. Because even back then, before I knew what I wanted to do, I knew that this was important. It doesn't matter what you're doing or where you are, as long as you're making progress a little bit every day, then you're going somewhere. Then life's it has meaning, right? So now my friend, Owen Chow, he's got a gym here, and it's called AMP, and he's taken that over because he found that to be the meaning of his life.
Interesting.
That's his purpose, to make people
That's
stronger.
His passion, his purpose.
That's his, exactly, to make people more functional, to make people stronger, and he is having phenomenal success because he's found what he's meant to do.
Right.
The most incredible part is all these people, like a lot of just tiny little Asian girls.
Yes.
You'll see like 90-pound girls deadlifting like 250 pounds.
Wow.
And they don't look any different
Yes.
than other people walking on the street. They just learn how to function properly and use their bodies properly, right? Yeah, exactly, and break that mental barrier, functioning their minds.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm very proud of him for doing that, and I'm very proud of him for staying with that mantra that we created, always making progress.
That's beautiful.
Amp it up, yeah.
And what about in terms of martial art? How does that integrate with your acting career?
Well, one thing I'll tell you, what I find to be a bit of a shame is that martial arts and Asians have been so stereotyped together
100%. Yep.
that a lot of Asian actors in the industry, they're shying away from martial arts. Because imagine if you've been scarred all your life going, all you are is martial arts, all you are is martial arts. It's like our parents going, all you are is a doctor, all you are is a lawyer. You want to break out of that, right? So a lot of Asians going, I'm more than martial arts, I'm more than, you know, Bruce Lee. But that's kind of a different mentality is how I take it. Because I feel like one thing you learn in jiu-jitsu is that you should never turn away from your opponent.
Yes.
Right? If he's got your back, you need to turn back and face him, right? Because the more you turn away from it, the bigger the trouble you get into.
Correct.
Because
when
you can't see the solution.
Yeah, that's when they get choked out, right? Yeah.
Right, so then for myself, I feel like we should embrace the martial arts and expand on it, right? Because there's so much more to martial arts than just pretty moves. There's deeper meanings, there's a lot of healing in martial arts, and a lot of discipline, and a lot of self-learning in martial arts. It's like what African Americans did initially with blues and hip hop, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's hip hop culture.
Yes.
Started from them.
Yes.
And
it started from there.
Yeah.
And go from there.
And of course, not every single African American person does hip hop or even maybe likes hip hop.
Correct.
But you will never hear anyone going hip hop sucks.
Yes.
Right? Because it's part of their culture.
Yes.
You don't diss yourself. Yeah? Same thing with martial arts. Even if you don't do it, you should embrace it and learn a little bit about it.
That is
because
part of our
that's
culture, right?
That is part of your culture, exactly right. So that's how I take towards martial arts. Though I want to do a lot of other things and I want to express myself, but martial arts is always going to be part of me. And down to, I mean, the more you learn about it, the more you go back in learning about it.
And the more you know you don't know.
That's right, because first you learn the fancy moves,
Yes.
and then you go back and go, wow, it's like just simply standing on one leg has, you know, a lot of skill and a lot of learning behind it. So,
who are some of your like role models, like heroes that you look up to in martial art or even in movies? Are you a fan of like, you know, Jackie Chan or like Donnie Yen or like?
I'm a fan of them all.
Jet Li.
I mean, I'm a fan of them all, but I have to say, if I had to point to one role model, it was Stephen Chow when I was growing up.
Oh, interesting.
Right, because having born in China, I didn't really get a lot of influence into, a lot of exposure actually, into a lot of different movies. It was until I moved to Hong Kong at a young age, I saw Stephen Chow. I'd never seen anything like it.
You grew up watching his movies, right?
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people, to this day, not many people have seen anyone like Stephen Chow.
Correct.
Or the characters that he portrays.
Correct.
You know, they're still instant classics. So that was one person that comes straight to my mind. And then I kind of didn't have a lot of role models growing up because I moved around so much. I didn't have anyone to really look up to. And then the second person I would have to name is Bruce Lee. But that came in much, much later when Bruce Lee, his philosophy and his works of art has been given a renaissance in recent years.
Yes.
And then I studied more about him and found out how much we lost because he died at such a young age.
Very true.
But his philosophy, his mentality is so ahead of his time that it still applies. And if he had been living and still advocating for what he stood for, I think that this new Asian reawakening in pop culture, in Hollywood, in Western culture, and actually globally, would have come probably a lot sooner.
I agree, because back then when he was, as you know, he was struggling in America, playing different roles like Longstreet or even Green Hornet, right? It's a supporting role, and he wanted to make it big. Because back then in Hong Kong, he was already a superstar at a young age, right? In Hong Kong,
Right.
But then when he came to Hollywood, it was just like he wasn't given the opportunity. So he was like, okay, fine, I would go back to Hong Kong, and he would make the Big Boss, right, and all the Chinese Connection, and then Return of Dragon. Then it's Enter the Dragon. You think about it, he is essentially the first quote unquote Asian celebrity superstar that made it in Hollywood through Enter the Dragon. Unfortunately, he passed away, right? So for him, I'm a huge fan because I've actually studied under two of Bruce Lee's original students. One is Joe Louis and one is Ted Wong. And Ted Wong was his last student. You can see a lot of pictures with him as the holding
interviews
the
as well.
Yeah, like
Yes.
with Ted. So I've been very close with Ted, and he taught me a lot of different things. But more the philosophy in the stories, right? You have the on-screen Bruce Lee, right? Like the actor, right? And then you have the very private Bruce Lee, who's actually a comedian who's like super funny, super down to earth. And Ted shared a lot of story about Bruce's struggles. In even in America, he couldn't afford to pay rent. With the time he was struggling financially through a long period of time before he became Bruce Lee. He's got the skills, he's got the charisma, but for him it was. But people can see, oh, Bruce Lee, but he struggled for a long, long time.
All right, we've got a challenge for you.
Okay.
Now, this might look easy, but it's not easy, right? Maybe Ludi, tell us what is this?
Okay, well, first of all, nobody's gonna get hurt.
Yes.
Right? But as you know, I just came from LA, and there's a great time there right now because all these award-contending films are out there. And a great film on Netflix that just came out, is available on Netflix, it's called Roma.
Roma, okay.
And one of the best things about this film for me is something unbelievably simple.
Right.
And that you can try right now.
Right.
Actually, I challenge you right now.
Yes.
So there's this scene in Roma of this like martial arts master.
Okay.
And he doesn't look that great, he's a little bit overweight, whatever, right? But he comes out and he goes, everybody do this. And all he does is this, facing the sun,
Facing the sun. Okay.
closes his eyes,
Okay.
and takes one leg off the ground.
Okay.
And he goes, you might think this looks simple, but what you're experiencing right now is a miracle. What I say is,
What?
that's pretty good.
Really?
That's pretty good. So what I say is, let's see how we can do it for longer
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
And no cheating,
Yes.
because we got our eyes closed,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But the camera will see.
Yes.
The audience is the witness.
Yes. This is a tough one.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
You guys call it.
Go. Oh, it's tough. Oh my
I'm
god.
quite impressed.
Wow, that's so
I'm quite
different.
impressed. You definitely won.
Yeah.
There's something about the purity of mind.
Yes.
in
Wow.
there. The
wow.
more you empty your mind, the more balanced
Yes,
you are.
the more I tried to
That's very
control
impressive.
it. I was trying to control it, but
Yes.
oh man, it's.
That was very
It's
impressive.
hard. Wow, it's
So I think
hard.
people should try it out.
You should try it. Whew, it's not easy.
It's not
It
easy.
is not easy. I
Okay.
think it's easier when you open your eyes.
It's much easier when you open your eyes.
Yeah, it's interesting. See, open your eyes is so easy. Wow, why is it when you close your eyes it's more difficult?
I don't know. Maybe it's got something to do with like the thoughts that are going through your mind, or like the balance.
It's so interesting. No, it feels like the more I want to control it, the less control I have. The more I want it to, okay, don't move, stay steady, and the more it shakes, right? And there were a couple moments where I'm like, I forget this thing, just relax, and then I was more in control. And then my mind is thinking about different things again and trying to control it, and I can't control it.
It's true, man. I think
It's
I think
so
I was thinking
fascinating.
about too many things, bro.
Yes, it's
I'm
so
too excited standing next to
It
you.
was so fascinating, man. This is awesome. This is
Cool.
such a good exercise. Try it out. Comment below and see how long you could last. No cheating, close your eyes. That's a great challenge for you.